And I want to use this interview to kind of educate the audience, and not only the audience, but myself on why Taiwan is such a strategic location and why it's so important in the world. And when it comes to chip manufacturing, all this stuff. But, I did not realize how delicate that situation was due to its history with China until I started prepping for this interview. And I mean, I knew, the semiconductors, and it's been terrifying to me to think that China might take them. And they say they will by 2027. If China does take Taiwan by 2027, like he says, what is our response going to be? How does this go down? How does China take it?
They've been practicing, you're talking about one brigade, now 42 brigades. They have been practicing a quarantine first, so a surrounding of the island to make resupply, naval visit, whatever, cutting off the energy, and basically laying siege to it. I can see them doing that to the point of forcing some kind of capitulation, or is there a way to break that siege with naval vessels or with subsurface resupply? Lots of creative ways. Or I would argue that immediately there's a lot of other things that should happen to China's global supply chain, whether it's all the gas pipelines flowing in from Kazakhstan, Turkmenistan, Burma, Eastern Mongolia, or Eastern Russia. Obviously, full-on blockade of the Straits of Malacca so that nothing goes in or out of China. And dial up consequences for any of the Chinese assets anywhere in the world almost simultaneously. That is not a normal conventional military response. I can see China trying to do a massive decapitation strike of hundreds of helicopters flying into Taipei, seizing their White House, and trying to do it that way, on top of a quarantine. There's been pictures published of them building very long range or very long reach barges, like floating piers that they could offload multiple ro-ro type vessels that they would use in amphibious assault. There's an old frogman friend, mentor of mine, Tad Devine, may he rest in peace. He surveyed all the beaches in Taiwan in 1959 as a UDT, before even the SEALs existed. He said, there are no good beaches for amphibious assault. So China has been building these very long barges right out in the open, able to, you can buy commercial imagery of them. There's no other earthly reason for those to exist other than to seize Taiwan. Full stop. So if we delude ourselves into thinking, wow, it's not going to happen, that is visual proof. It's almost like the mulberries that were used in Arromanches to build the portable harbor that we used in World War II at D-Day. That's what China's doing right now.
Well, last month they had an exercise. It was called Straits Thunder. Why is it called Straits? Maybe it's because of the Taiwan Strait. I mean, give me a break. I mean, it's obvious that they're planning for something and they want Taiwan. There is no place in my universe where China does not want to take Taiwan. I wish it weren't so.